Greetings, everybody. Finally, a video about me, Maik Wiedenbach, and how I came to America. Okay. So that was a question I was actually asked in one of the YouTube chats, so I shall answer to the best of my knowledge. So me coming to America was a sort of short-term decision, but also a long-term project. Let me elaborate. So when I was little, yes, I was little at some point, lived in a very small town in Germany. America was about as far away as the moon, okay? There was nobody that went to America, that nobody even in an airplane. That was for rich people. So it wasn't like I knew people that went to America on a regular basis and said, I want to do that too. No. I had lordosis. I had back problems when I was little. So my mother took me to the pool and the swim team. So the doctor said, you know, the kid should swim. That's probably good for the back. And then I got reasonably good at it. And I started getting better, got more practice. And then I was really good in West Germany, and then the unthinkable happened. The wall came down. And all of a sudden I wasn't so good anymore because all the kids from the East were faster. So that was frustrating. So I spent a couple years catching up with them until I was good again. So then, as I got into my late teens, early 20s, I was like, you know, top level, national, like international, that sort of thing. And the question that I always got is like, so what's the training like at those levels, you know? And it's not beast mode, it's not no days off, it's not all out all the time. It's very organized, very German. People go there, they basically go to work, they do what they need to do. So we would train about 4 hours in the pool a day and then an extra hour in the weight room. So 5 hours a day was about what we did. And that kind of volume, obviously, you can only sustain if the intensity is measured, right? That makes sense. So despite popular belief, there was nobody puking, there were no joints broken, there were no ligaments torn, none of that nonsense, okay? So no, it wasn't CrossFit, it was actually a real sport. There you have it. How we like that. Diet-wise, we knew about healthy eating. Now, we weren't as meticulous as bodybuilders for the simple reason that we needed large amounts of calories to sustain yourself, right? So basically, we were eating like 10,000 or so, and you just can't eat that clean, or at least I couldn't, so they had some junk had to come in, okay? So then the question is always like, okay, who wins, hard work or talent? So I got a very unfortunate truth for you. If you're not talented, at least somewhat, you're not gonna make it. Sorry. Was I talented? I would say I was reasonably talented, but I definitely punched above my weight. So, because first of all, I'm relatively short. I'm only 6'2", which for a swimmer is not what you should be. And then, secondly, my shoulder flexibility is not as great as it is, like, let's say, for Michael Phelps. But I was always very diligent in terms of conditioning, strength training, so my physical attributes were probably a bit better than most people, which enabled me to swim faster than my talent level would have. Now, don't get me wrong, I also worked very, very hard. But you need some talent, and you need, of course, the consistency and the hard work. So basically, me coming to America in 1999 started in 1986, okay? So how did it occur? Very funny. A friend of mine set up an agency that would help European, mainly German athletes to get scholarships in America. He would handle the paperwork, the application with NCAA, with the coaches and that sort of thing. He would pay him a fee. So he said to me, hey, I'm starting this business, you go into this big university in Germany, can you hang up the posters? And you get a free transfer. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. So I hang up the posters, nothing happens for a while. And then I get a couple of colleges interested in me, Miami, New York, USC. So, and this is where luck comes in. So why did I end up in New York, which is basically where I was able to start my second career then after swimming, you know, being in the fitness world, you know, where I have my family. It was, believe it or not, my brother, Jan, is a Knicks fan. So the coach from Miami calls me, pitches me really, really hard to go to Miami. My brother runs into his room, gets dressed in Knicks gear, and starts prancing around in front of me, telling me I should go to New York. And of course I listened. Well, it was a perfectly good argument, right? Like, well, my little brother knows best, why wouldn't I follow him? So that's how I ended up in New York. And then, of course, being here was one thing, but I had to, you know, perform a certain level to keep the scholarship and, you know, go where I went to go. So basically, what I want to summarize with this is there's a couple layers or levels to be successful. So one, and I think that's where your quote unquote American dream comes in, you gotta work. You just gotta work, okay? You gotta be consistent, and you gotta think in years, sometimes even in a decade, and not in a week. Okay, you gotta put the work in and out. You can't get discouraged. Which leads me to point two. So if something like 1989 happens, where all of a sudden your competition triples overnight, with some unfair advantages, which I don't want to get into at this point, you just have to deal with it. You can't be saying like, oh, this is so mean, I'm not going to swim anymore, and cut, okay? You have to say like, okay, this is really annoying. I was ranked number 1, now I'm ranked number 8. Well, I guess I got to go to work. What can I tell you, right? You need a support system. You can't do it alone, okay? So I was very fortunate. My family back home, especially my mother, they were, absolutely crucial. Cooking meals, driving me to, you name it, right? All these things. You can't do it without, okay? That is very, very important. And then some stuff is also just plain luck, like my friend opening this agency, and then, because I don't think I would have filled out the NCAA papers and all that, it's too complicated, I must stay here, because things weren't that bad in Germany. I had to leave, so I was probably stayed. And number 5 is anything that you do where you're expecting or hoping or trying for like a long-term payoff, you're taking a risk, right? So if you want to be a great athlete, you have to sacrifice your puberty, okay? In the sense that there's going to be less going out, there's going to be less alcohol, there's going to be no pot smoking and all these sort of things, and you just have to, you got to be in a pool at like whatever 6 in the morning, It's going to be harder for you to perform on an academic level because you have extra work to do, and nobody cares about it. You still got to get the grades in, and you're taking this risk that may or may not pay off, okay? But that being said, that goes for anything. That goes for somebody who sets up a store, has a business, whatever. You have to take those years and put the work in, and you don't know the outcome. So I think those are the 5 pillars that you can be learned from, and that's something that's being forgotten in our Instagram world. People just want to be famous, right? Like they take a photo and like, I want to be famous. Well, for what? You have abs. So do 207 other guys also. Like, there's nothing special, okay? So if you really want to build in the fitness industry or whatever, a long-lasting success, you have to take necessary steps. You have to pretty much outwork everybody. You have to deal with the unforeseen. You need a support system. You gotta have some luck. And yes, you're taking a substantial risk, let's take Jay Cutler. They could have ended nowhere, and then, all this work would have been for nothing, But it didn't, Michael Phelps did not have a normal childhood or puberty, but it paid off. But, he might have stepped off the bus, tore his ligaments in the foot and never swam again. And then what, right? These things can happen. So anyway, that's my story. America is awesome. And Maik out.